like, yeah, do you want to make a video about that? Yeah, no, I think it's kind of appropriate. We can make a video talking about the Philadelphia Flyers and Rick Tocchet stealing all of these players from Canadian franchises. Noah Juulsen to the Philadelphia Flyers. 1 year, one way, $900,000. Dan Vladar to the Philadelphia Flyers. 2 years, one way, $3.35 million. And then you have yourselves Christian Dvorak. 1 year, one way, $5.4 million a year. Rick Dhaliwal says that the Vancouver Canucks were very interested in Dvorak, but he ends up going to Philadelphia. I mean, Rick Tocchet hockey, baby. Rick Tocchet hockey. This is going to be less of a Philadelphia Flyers video and more so of a goodbye Dvorak and goodbye Juulsen video with a little bit of a Dan Vladar flavor sprinkled in there too. Noah Juulsen, former Vancouver Canucks D-man, takes absolutely the worst decisions to charge up for hits on the back check. This guy has put himself out of place so much over the past few years in Vancouver by chasing hits. When the opposing team is coming in on the fast break, Noah Juulsen will turn a 2-on-2 into a 2-on-1 by totally misaligning his body check, and it makes for some good highlights, but quite often the Vancouver Canucks got burned. He also had 0 points in 35 games played. Noah Juulsen, I mean, I can't really go out there and in good faith say that he was a good player, but he was a reliable enough physical presence in Vancouver that folks liked because he was big and he was not afraid to step up and fight for his guys. Philadelphia, I mean, Noah Juulsen apparently liked it with the Rick Tocchet system. He'll be going over there, bringing the boom for the Flyers. I've been saying this entire time, man. It's going to be so interesting seeing the Flyers deploy Rick Tocchet-styled hockey with Mishkov and Zegras, but a guy like Noah Juulsen heading over there makes a lot of sense. He is from Surrey, BC, was a former first-round pick by the Montreal Canadiens, and the fact that he was able to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons in the Vancouver Canucks organization is a pretty good feat for a local Surrey guy. He also was fairly productive with the Abbotsford Canucks, so you can't dismiss that. But the contract is one way, so he'll be making the same amount of money whether he is in in Philadelphia or in their Lehigh Valley Phantom system. I don't think he's going to be sent down, though. I think Tocchet will very much like having Juulsen at his disposal one more time. But goodbye to Noah Juulsen, a former Vancouver Canuck and Surrey guy heading over to Philly. Same thing you could say about Christian Dvorak. Now, he is not a Surrey guy heading over to Philly from Vancouver. He is a Montreal Canadiens former player who is now in the city of brotherly love. He had 33 points in 82 games this most recent season and 2 goals in the playoffs against the Washington Capitals. Dvorak really came alive in the second half of the year. Him, Gallagher, they played some very good hockey on the same line there, and it was kind of refreshing seeing them with Josh Anderson actually display very good play for the Canadiens. That's why the Canadiens were able to make the playoffs, man. They had a stellar top line with Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, and then Dvorak, Anderson, and Gallagher were carrying their weight. The 4-point game against Ottawa really just puts the cherry on top for Christian Dvorak and his time with the Montreal Canadiens. This stint right here in March was astounding. And ultimately, I think Habs fans will remember Dvorak in a very positive light because of the way he finished in Montreal, despite the fact that over the course of the past few years, he wasn't really probably as good as Canadiens fans hoped he would be. This was because he was a fairly good point producer in Arizona before coming over to Montreal as retribution for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. The Habs took the assets they got from the Kotkaniemi offer sheet and used them to acquire Dvorak, but then injury slowed him down and he wasn't able to fully get what he needed to get in Montreal in terms of those games played. I mean, 30 games in 23-24 with 9 points. I think a lot of folks were expecting a bounce back year, and to an extent he had that. It's just he was only really as effective as he was in the second half of the year, which hopefully carries over into a full season's worth of productivity in Philadelphia. But I do kind of think that Dvorak is a perfect Rick Tocchet guy. He plays well two-way, he's good off the puck, he has that dog in him, and he can produce some points. Dvorak, of course, whenever I think of him, I think of his stellar London Knights days, where he was the #1 point producer in the CHL alongside of Matthew Tkachuk and Mitch Marner. Now, you could say, oh yeah, he was playing with Matthew Tkachuk and Mitch Marner, of course he's going to produce. But that's more so, I think, just the level that he was at back at that time frame. Yeah, he was a lot older than those guys, so of course he was producing, but there was a good amount of hype for Christian Dvorak in 2016, 9 years ago. So to see him inevitably become the player that he was, I mean, he's a solid enough NHLer to get a $5 million deal in Philadelphia. Good on him for getting that bag. I think he kind of deserves it, yeah. We can say that comfortably. The Montreal Canadiens got Zach Bolduc too, who is the in-spirit replacement for Dvorak on their lineup, so I think it makes sense. And then, the Philadelphia Flyers also signed Dan Vladar to a 2-year contract with an AAV of $3.35 million. Makes sense here too, especially with Dustin Wolf taking over the starting load in Calgary. Dan Vladar had himself a fairly couple of years in Calgary. .898 save percentage in 30 games this previous season, .882 the last year, .895 the year before that. I mean, it's rough for Dan Vladar. I mean, his World Championship stint was really good, though. .951 save percentage in 4 games for Czechia, so you love to see that. But it's kind of obvious here that Dustin Wolf took over that starting spot for the Calgary Flames. He was fantastic, a .910 save percentage in 53 games as a rookie goalie. That is absolutely phenomenal. So Vladar heading over to the Philadelphia Flyers. There was a spot open for him, and taking a look at their goaltending situation for the upcoming season. Between Ersson, Fedotov, Kolosov, and Vladar, I honestly have no idea who is going to be the #1 here. I mean, last season for the Flyers, the most games played was by Samuel Ersson, but you can see here, I mean, none of these guys had good goaltending numbers at all. .883, .880, .867... I mean, I'm not saying that Dan Vladar is an immediate fantastic upgrade over any of these guys, but he'll fit right in. We can say that, and it doesn't sound too duplicitous or two-faced, but at the end of the day, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about Philadelphia coming in and signing all of these Canadian franchise guys. Dan Vladar, Christian Dvorak, Noah Juulsen, they're all heading over to Philly to play under Rick Tocchet. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're a Canucks fan, Flames fan, or a Canadiens fan, how do you feel about each of these guys departing your teams for Philadelphia? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.